All right. The next topic is going to be Kendrick Lamar. Kendrick just dropped his album last Friday, and we've both had a chance to take or listen to it a few times. MC, what are your early thoughts?
So Kendrick is one of the few artists who can make an album and you don't have to skip any of the songs. So I knew before even listening to it that the album was going to be fire
Mhm.
because he's never had a bad album. I think we are living in a time. J. Cole is kind of like that too. I can listen to all their albums and never skip a song. That being said, the Heart Part Six is my favorite song on there. The that beat, I want to say it was a Michael Jackson sample of "Lady in My Life," but I want to
I think
compare
it
before I.
was.
Yeah, but dope album. If you live in Los Angeles, that was a unity call because man, he incorporated some of the Mexican culture in there, some of the funk and jazz and fusion, some of the original hip hop. It was a dope album, man. It really was. One thing that baffled me a little bit, Kendrick has been on this. The whole industry is against me lately. I
Mhm.
don't know where that's coming from because first of all, you're about to do the Super Bowl, number one. Number two, most people universally agree that he's the best rapper out there right now. So when he says the industry is against me, who's he talking about? But anyway, that's a sidestep. The album is dope. The production is dope. The lyricism is dope. I expected that. I wouldn't expect anything less from Kendrick.
Yeah. Scale of 1 to 10, what do you give it?
This is not his best album. Let me be clear when I say that. I'll stand by his best album by far to me is To Pimp a Butterfly. I would take that album and I'll put it next to any album ever made and it will hold ground. That being said, this album was probably 8 or 9. It was a very good album.
Wow, 8 or 9.
Yeah, yeah. Where you stand on it?
Man, this shit was like 6. Like, I'm sorry.
What didn't you like?
Sorry. Look, I'm gonna ask you a question. You gassing up this album? You like Reincarnated?
I do like Reincarnated.
That poor man's Tupac song?
Well, he's been emulating Tupac for a long time, though. Mortal Man on the Pimp
Yeah.
a Butterfly. He actually pulled a Tupac interview. So he's a West Coast dude. California as a whole has adopted Tupac, even though he wasn't born there. But I don't have a problem with that. But honestly, like I said, he's never had a bad album to me, so I'm not surprised.
Bad album. Okay. I'm not gonna say it's a bad album because I did like the album. I went through a few times to kind of get a flow for things. I like the that TV off song. Obviously, that's gonna be the radio play.
Yeah,
I mean, I saw the memes showing up before I heard that song, and I'm like, what the hell is everybody talking to? But they're definitely talking about that one. Like I said, that reincarnate, I couldn't get with that one. And I mean, I like Tupac just like the next person. That I don't know what it is about with some of like trying to emulate Tupac or why people pay homage to Tupac. Like I get it. Like I know you
they
got
all do it though. Like
like
they all do it. 50 Cent did it. Ja Rule did it.
I know
Kendrick does it. Like
I know
everybody try to be Pac.
right, but what I'm saying is like, just how long are we gonna keep doing this? Like if I want to listen to Tupac, I'll go listen to Tupac. That's what I'm saying is that people and the reincarnated song was the one I didn't. That wasn't the most egregious one that I didn't like, but there was the other one that sounded like one mic. That one was okay, but I was like, man, this sounds just like Nas song. I forget the name of it.
He shot it out Nas in the first song, Whacked Out Murals. He basically
Yeah.
when he got the Super Bowl, he said Nas was the only one that congratulated him. He also took kind of a small jab at Wheezy. Did you hear that in that
Small.
song?
He took multiple jabs at Wheezy.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. I guess you're right.
And we can talk about that too as well, just on the album. I thought it was a 6. I mean, I'm still a Mad City fan, but I just
Yeah, Man City was dope. That was probably his second best album to me.
this is the other thing too. And I know where you're at on this now, and where I'm at is people this album was way overblown. It's overhyped. I'm sorry, it is overhyped. Like I saw people talking about it because again I listened to it multiple times, and the way that people made this thing sound like it, I was like, nope, it didn't. it didn't get to that level. Some of the lyrics were good and some of it was kind of simple. I mean, I'm not a rapper, of course, but I don't know. I guess I was expecting something a little bit more on this album for as much hype that was, pushed around it. And some and maybe I've noticed this, but that mumble rap shit, I'm done with that mumble rap shit. Like, cause he did it a few times in the first couple of tracks, and then he started like talking, or I mean, speaking normally. But I was like, man, what the fuck are you saying? But yeah, but I did like that one song. It was the sound. It has like an '80s vibe at the beginning. I forget the name. I gotta look it up. But that's just how I felt, man. Like I said, it's a good album, but not. I want to say, like I said, I still think Mad City. I went back to listen to Mad City just because I mean I like the song, but I was like, damn. I didn't know.
The storytelling on Good Kid, Mad City is just amazing. Like
Yeah.
I've always said Nas is the best storyteller in hip hop, but just Good Kid, Mad City alone, you got to enter Kendrick into that
Oh yeah.
conversation.
Yeah, he's definitely in there.
I want to go back to something you said real quick. You said some of the album was simple. People like Kendrick and Lupe Fiasco, I have to listen to their albums more than once because there's so many hidden meanings and subliminals.
Sure.
I don't think there were a ton in this album, it was easy for me to follow. But I listened to albums twice because I listened to it once and I say, oh, okay, this is dope. And I got to go back and make sure I got that same feeling again when I go through it again. And
Mm-hmm.
like I said, this ain't his best album, but still a good album. He's never had a bad album. This album is just good while he's had others that were great. I just named you two that were great.
Yeah.
And I appreciated the fact you talked about the mumble rap. I think that's him extending a branch to the younger, I call it the Gen Z, Gen Alpha rappers, because he's got quite a few of them
Yeah.
in his feature. So maybe that's just an olive branch. But Kendrick and J. Cole, to me, are 1A and 1B in terms of the game right now. So for the most part, they're not going to put out anything that's trash.
Yeah. The song was thinking of Squabble Up. So yeah, that was definitely I like the intro, and then the first track, and then I like Squabble Up, but then a few of the other stuff, it was like, I mean, the Luther one was fine. Hey Now, I don't think I don't know.
Let me tell you why I'm excited about hip hop right
Peekaboo,
now.
what the hell was that?
That was one of the songs that it was okay. It was okay.
Are you gonna say? Can you be critical about this?
I literally started off by saying Kendrick has never put out a bad album, so I'm going to stand on that. I've heard some bad albums. This is not a bad album.
No, it's not bad, but
yeah,
there's a couple tracks on here again that probably didn't need to make it on here.
I rocked this thing twice without skipping, and I was fine with that. But
Yeah.
I think it's important that people understand that hip hop has evolved. There was once a time where you wouldn't get no play unless you was spitting some gangster stuff.
Yeah.
But I think we have evolved as a people to where we can have more conversations about, what I'm saying, mental health and, uplifting your community and stuff like that. There's rappers that talk about being married and getting back into shape and like having a more positive outlook on life. And Kendrick does all of that, man, while he still deals with, I've never been a complete racism denier, but he deals with it in a way that I can process it and I think it's excessive.
I'm glad you said that. He had that one line, and I think it was Squabble Up, where he said, y'all let a white comedian say something. He said something about a black woman or whatever. I mean, what the is that? Like, come on. I mean, because you get the reference, right? Or maybe we should tell the reference.
Andrew Schultz.
Yeah, Andrew Schultz was he talking about Kamala? He was talking about Kamala, right?
Man, Andrew Schultz goes after black women all the time. So
he goes after everybody.
Yeah, that's that. I was just about to say that. And that's the thing about comedy. Andrew Schultz is like South Park to me. I love South Park because South Park goes after everybody. Nobody is safe. You're gonna get these jokes just like everybody else. And Andrew Schultz is the type of person where if he sees you getting offended, he's just gonna push harder. He's just gonna push that same button and push it harder. But if you want to throw your cape on for all black women, I don't know what to tell you, bro. Go ahead. But there's trash groups of people in every segment of people, though. So you have to be careful with that, especially when you're dealing with the comedian. particularly one that's dated black women before. And I only know that because I've been listening to Brilliant Idiots for a long time before Charlamagne got all weird. But yeah, I think defending in totality a group of any people is going to backfire on you at some point. But I think it was a little bit panderish, if I'm
Yeah.
being honest.
Oh, so,
Still a good album though.
yeah. So I can't. I'm trying to look up see if he's talking about white comedians talking about black women. So I don't know if it was referring to Kamala, but it had something. It was. I mean, the point is, um, I know he's just putting the lyric out there. That said, I did see that trend, and people were just co-signing it. Like this is what we're talking about, and that's that bullshit where a lot of people, anybody, there's no context to that lyric. That unless you know who he's referring to, unless you know the story behind what was going, which I don't know the full story. I remember it was Andrew Schultz again. He's a fucking comedian, and so for a lot of people getting butthurt about what he says about whatever the color is, y'all gotta get over that shit. That's why Kamala lost the election, and that's why Democrats are going to keep having a problem. But people gotta get over that stuff though, because unfortunately, comedians, I don't want them to be censored. I don't want them to be muzzled. I don't want them to be not themselves. We got a different Kevin Hart because of woke culture and people trying to cancel him. And
Yeah.
so Kevin Hart would talk about everybody, but now he's steered his, and it's worked out for him. It's a good thing. But we don't need people to be like Kevin Hart. We need Andrew Schultz to be who he is, crack these jokes on everybody. Even that comedian that was at the Republican convention. As long as you crack jokes on everybody else, I don't give a crap. Like, I don't want any do you know the comedian Matt Riff or Rife?
Yeah, he just does crowd work mostly.
Yeah,
But
exactly. And when he when he goes after, oh man, I'm gonna go to hell for this, but he does these jokes with the special needs folks that show up in the crowd. And I was like, oh man, Matt, don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do it. And he does it, and everyone's laughing. And his jokes are pretty funny and tasteful, in my opinion. But he's cracking jokes on everybody: white women, black men, white men, Mexicans, Asians. He's cracking jokes on everybody. And so when people see that, again, when they see that lyric, people are taking it. I don't know what it is about the community where they see one thing, or they see this little snippet, and it becomes like, this is the battle cry. This is what we have to tell, make sure everyone understands this, that no white person is allowed. That dude is who-ish. So he ain't just a regular, white guy. He's a who-ish. And last time I checked, ain't nobody saying anything about them folks.
Yeah. I don't think Schultz is what you think he is, because he gets compared to that a lot of times.
Oh, all right, hold on. Let me do this real quick.
Yeah, I don't think he is what you think he is. I think he's German, actually, ironically, but
I could have sworn he was.
I remember him specifically saying people ask him that all the time. But while we're on the subject of Kendrick, we might as well pivot real quick and talk about this lawsuit that Drake is trying to push up. You want to talk about that real quick?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
So Drake is suing, I want to say it's Universal Group. I think Spotify, a couple other streaming platforms are involved in there, that allegedly they were hyping Kendrick up and causing him to lose revenue based on They Not Like Us, which was definitely the song of the summer. It was, I think Spotify is the top song for weeks during the summer, and it's a diss song, which is unheard of. I find it funny that Drake is doing this, but I want to hear your thoughts before I go.
So, unfortunately for Drake, he's going to have to take the L. He's right for doing it, but he's going to have to take the L, because if they're doing something that they normally don't do, and it's at his expense, he should be saying something. His lawyer should be saying something. His record label should be saying something. Anyone that has money connected to Drake, they should be saying something, because he's losing because of Kendrick Lamar. Now people hate Drake because he was born in Canada, or he lived in Canada. Well, I think he was born in Canada.
Yeah.
And he's, I know he's half who-ish.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And he wasn't buddied up with Kamala, I guess. But the point in all that is, unfortunately, he's going to take an L for it. But he's absolutely right, because that's actually illegal. You can't just be inflating these radio plays like people are listening to it, because you're giving the I want to say back in the 50s or 60s, it was a big thing where people, or somebody, I forgot who did it, but somebody was doing that exact same thing, and they were fined or they went to jail or something, because it's not an accurate representation of what people are actually listening to. And so maybe the industry does do that for a little bit, but we know this whole beef, lots of people made money off of it, and there was a reason why they inflated that song.
Not knowing the full context of what happened behind the scenes, to me, Drake is the fresh and fit of hip hop. And I'm gonna tell you exactly what I mean by that. I lost respect for Fresh and Fit when they got into it with Abe Preach, because one of them, I want to say it was Fresh. He challenged one of them to run a fade. Basically, he's like, "Look, let's put on the boxing gloves and let's just settle this in the ring." And when they accepted, he backed down. I look at Drake exactly the same way, because he poked the bear with Kendrick. He made 3 diss songs, talked about his family, did AI, Snoop and Tupac voices, knowing Kendrick admired those 2 individuals. He just kept poking the bear, and Kendrick was like, okay. Kendrick stayed quiet for a while, and then all of a sudden he came back with his responses. So Drake egged this on, and now he's the one that's filing the lawsuits. You started the battle, but you lost the war, and now you feel salty about it. I can't respect that. And regardless of what his streams and his ratings are now, Drake is still the most popular hip hop artist in the world. So
I mean, he ain't trying to lose money.
Yeah, he ain't trying to lose money, but he already has money too. How bad do you think Kendrick is going to hurt Drake's career? Most of the people that listen to Drake are white girls who are 15. Most of them don't even know who Kendrick is.
Hey, do you think who has a better chance of getting a Super Bowl? Drake or Kendrick Lamar for the second time?
If I was a logical and smart man, I would make offers to both of them. Kendrick had the hot hand, so I would offer to him first.
Who has a better chance of getting a Super Bowl? Again, we know Kendrick.
The answer is Kendrick, because Kendrick has the hot hand right now. But there's no reason why you can't go after Drake, because Drake is going to draw in a more diverse crowd than what Kendrick will.
Yeah, but my point in all that is Drake ain't never going to go to Super Bowl because this whole Kendrick beef. It really, I mean, he'll probably pull out an album, will probably do okay, but he ain't gonna be able to recover from this. Not to the Super Bowl level. And technically, he should get to the Super Bowl level, which we can have that conversation too, because I know people feel salty about this, but Lil Wayne should be at the Super Bowl, not Kendrick Lamar.
You think? Because it's in New Orleans?
Yeah, hot motherfucking take. Yeah, Lil Wayne should be getting it. Lil Wayne has a way.
Look, I respect Lil Wayne just as much as everybody else, but Kendrick has the hot hand right now. He was the voice of the summer. Matter of fact, ironically, he's talking about protecting Black women, right? I think They Not Like Us was a huge reason why Kamala lost, because a lot of people were saying that when they were describing her. Pink Book Lessons was saying that. I think I heard Anti say it a couple times. Anti don't even dive into race stuff like that, but I know Pink Book was rocking hard with it. And even I asked that question in the previous episode. I said, why does They Not Like Us apply to Drake, but it doesn't apply to Madam VP, where they both have the similar upbringings and backgrounds?
Wait, like, are you saying because people overused it in defending Kamala?
No, I'm just saying keep that same energy. I wanted to know why it applied to Drake, but it didn't to Kamala, because Drake's father, I believe, is from Tennessee. So you could argue that Drake is half American.
Oh, yeah. I mean, when it comes to
Kamala is no American. They keep saying she's Jamaican. I don't believe that, but even if she is, that's still not American.
No.
So again, why does it apply to one and not the other? I've always had that position.
The problem, and I've had this conversation. It's funny. I had this conversation with a white person, one of my white friends, and I tried to explain this to them when it comes to like, and I said the same thing, and he just laughed at me like I was crazy. Like, of course she's Black. I'm like, no, that's not how the Black community operates. The Black community will grant blackness to Bill Clinton. The black community will strip blackness from Byron Donalds. This
Yep.
is how that shit goes. So
Yeah.
when it
It's
comes to like
chaotic.
who's black, who's not black, I don't even go by that shit anymore because these mofos will say, hey, you know, Kamala, she's black. Well, she didn't grow up in a black church. She didn't have a black mom. She grew up in Canada. There's no black people. I'm sure there was not a community of black people in Canada. And people are sure as hell to say that she is black. And you had a bunch of simp ass, beta, ninja ass men trying to convince, you know, masculine black men that this woman is this black woman is going to be your savior. And we knew that wasn't the case. And it showed in the damn election results. So, yeah, all that stuff about who's black, who's not black. That's why I don't get that community bullshit, though, because they don't even know who's freaking black, and or they decide, or it's subjective, I guess, is what I'm
Yeah,
trying to say.
it's not consistent at all. I think we're talking about two different things right now. It's probably going to be a different topic for another day, but one is culture and one is what you are. Because
Yeah.
Candace Owens and Jesse Lee Peterson are black, but a lot of people wouldn't call them that because of
Oh
what they
yeah.
believe.
Yeah.
So I think that's going to have to be a different topic for a different day, though, because that's going to be a long conversation.
Hell yeah, man. Yeah, but yeah, unfortunately, I hope. Well, unless Drake has, unless Drake's lawyers have evidence that they conspired against him, he should just let this kind of go. Honestly, you're right. He has the money. I don't want to be losing more money, but because he, you know, pushed this out, he's probably going to, he's definitely going to clown more. So it'll probably die over in the next year, though. But yeah, it's unfortunate.
Yep.
Oh, and then
Absolutely.
also, I did look up to see if Andrew Schultz was Jewish, and it says he doesn't disclose it. So, but his father's German, his mom is Irish descent. So
If he's not disclosing it, he might be because a lot of them change their name and hide that stuff.
that's what
Yeah.
changing. I mean, there's some other things that definitely stand out on Andrew, but again, you know whoish. So,
Yeah.
anyways, all right. Next